versus souL to wrap up today's GO4SC2. Actually turned into quite a nice length tournament by the time this best of 5 wraps up, about 4 hours long or so, unless we see a lot of proxies. To the bottom right hand side is not a proxy in game number 1 at least, unless it's a very late SCV heading out onto the map. Our red Terran player from OSC Elite, it's souL. And at the top left hand side, our blue Zerg from Team Liquid, we have ourselves Snute. Game 1 of our series here. Having a look to see just what's going to happen. Having a look to see what our players are going to be bringing us as we get this underway. Spawn pool first, actually coming down from Snute, so intrigued to see just what he tries to do with this as we get this rolling. Extractor going to come down here as well after the hatchery. So it's a pool hatch gas, which obviously doesn't really allow for too much aggression, I would say. We are going to see this barracks on the way up from souL at the moment. It's going to be finishing up, and the Reaper will start on out. So Reaper on its way as the SCV comes down into the natural. It's getting ready to throw down the command center. And of course, the early stages of Catalyst, we're just setting up and having a little bit of a look to see what might be going on. Overlord is just out the front of Catalyst as well here at the moment, as we do see this hatchery from Snute currently on the way down. A couple of Zerglings at the moment from Snute on the way out onto the map, and we are going to be seeing those things. One over to the right hand side, one over to the left. And it's going to be spreading out a little bit and seeing where they can go. Factory is on the way up as well at the moment here from souL in the main base, and that Marine is about to be popping out as well in the next couple of moments. SCV continues down towards the bottom right, and is just going to be picking up another few minerals at the moment here, as we do see that Overlord of Snute is coming through and is going to be able to, or is going to continue taking some hits. So Overlord gets overhead and is just going to be sat there for the moment, as we do see souL is back on the way towards the top side of the map. Again, another Overlord here from Snute, and as we do see the again, the early stages just really playing out here. In the end, Snute wasn't too aggressive. In the end, nothing really too crazy happened. One Link still sits to the right side to maybe come on a little bit later. Link speed has now started up. The hatchery is on the way in the natural, and the Reaper wants to try and slow down the third hatch from coming into play, but that's why Queen is thinking about already making its way over to be able to push that Reaper properly away from the third hatch location, and to be able to put that drone into position without any difficulty. Starport is over halfway done, so souL is definitely looking to try and maybe do a little bit of aggression here. He's lining up more and more Hellions, so it looks as though it's going to be Hellion focused, maybe for Medevac initially. Medevac would allow him to go in towards a... I actually think it's going to be a Hellbat attack, because he's making more Marines. And if you're making more Marines, it's very indicative of a Hellbat attack, rather than something like a Hellion drop, or rather than, because, if you're not making Marines, then you can build a tech lab and you set up into the next stages. But with Marines, it's really looking to make this attack as powerful as possible. And there is our armory. And Snute, still 4 minutes in this game, no third hatchery. That is a late third. And he doesn't have Link speed now. We'll have to see how well he's going to be able to deal with this drop attack and the Hellbats as well in the very near future. A few Lings are coming down the left-hand side at the moment, as the first 2 Hellions and the Reaper do sit up on top. A couple of Hellions are sat back over here. There's not really enough Lings to kind of run in and surround these guys, especially as another couple of Hellions pop out. If they start moving across the map right now, this mineral line is completely open. And that is, 8 Lings, which will shred away at a few workers there and definitely be a good distraction. Lack of a third hatch, though, I mean, that really makes trouble, because right now the creep is not quite in position. And Snute's going to have to defend so far back here. More Lings on the way up. These Lings are not moving forwards yet. He's actually rallying more Lings across the map, so he's going full on onto this counterattack. This wall-off needs to be finished here by souL, but it's not there just yet. Medevac targeted down initially by the Queens, and souL just going for the third hatchery. Honestly, I mean, it's a good play because he'll force the cancel, he'll delay the third base, but how much happens from there? He's actually still just warping in Balings. He doesn't realize that the wall is open, of course. He doesn't see that, whereas we do. And as those Banes come in, he is going to be able to buzz through the front. That'll supply block souL, and he's going to go straight into that mineral line. There's so many Banelings here, and Snute is still rallying more Lings as well, using the Queens purely for the defense. And here we go. The first depot is going down, and into the mineral line we go. 2 Cyclones on the way up to try and help defend. There's 1 Ling that gets up there, and this depot is not going to be raised, although we do see a Banshee starting to go off on the Banelings at least. There's Lings all over the place. Another SCV kind of getting hit by a Baneling down on the low ground. SCVs are falling all over, and souL is already losing a lot of workers. Queens are still pushing the Hellions / Hellbats back over on this side of the map, as a couple of Hellions do start to return, and reinforcing Zerglings are still running into them, into the main base. Another few Zerglings will go, finish off some of these lower health SCVs. First Cyclones are out, and the first one actually gets surrounded and killed off pretty swiftly there. Second one will be able to survive for the moment. 40 workers killed. There's 5 SCVs remaining on the map, 4 of them in the main base, 1 of them on the natural. This is the end of Snute's attack here as he restarts the third beyond all of this, and of course that puts him up 40 workers. If souL can't do something in terms of a big counterattack in the very near future, Snute is going to be running away with this game. And it'll be a strong start to this series, of course. Attacker stuff with the cheer 10 in the chat. Snute, hype, Norway, yeah! Hyped about Snute right now, who is definitely doing very well. As these 2 Banshees coming up the right side. While they cloak up, again, these are the possibilities, these are the ways in which you maybe get back into the game as souL. If units such as your Banshees can just get enough damage done, but already a Spore Crawler over here. Snute is missing a lair, but he has actually got a Spore Crawler right in the center here, and that means the Banshees are just going to be dealt with, and Snute will pick up game number 1. Best of 5 grand final here today. Fairly quick game number 1 due to the decisions from both players, really. The bottom left-hand side opening with that Hellbat attack in the first game. Let's see what he brings us here on 16-bit. It's souL. And this is definitely a map which can really cause things to be a little bit chaotic. Our blue Zerg player to the upper right from Team Liquid, it is Snute. Alright then, game number 2, and Snute of course with that Ling Bane counter to the Hellbats. Good scouting, knew what was coming, and he prepared himself wonderfully. The Queens dealt with the Hellbat attack. Yes, he had to cancel the third, but by the time he was done with the Ling Bane counter, well, he was in a pretty wonderful spot in general. So Snute should be pretty happy with how that first game went as we get into game number 2 now. Let's see what happens here. 16-bit's a much larger map than Catalyst. It's also going to be a much more kind of map which is probably going to go into the later stages in general. So we'll see if that's going to be true. Expect, on this map, maybe kind of a very fast triple CC from our Terran player. Our Zerg player is definitely going to go a bit more standard or ready go and hatch gas pool rather than pool hatch gas. He already feels much safer than maybe against a potential proxy 2 racks or 3 racks on Catalyst. So hatchery coming down for the moment as Snute sends an Overlord down to the bottom side and an Overlord across to the bottom left. So those are still coming through here at the moment as we are going to be seeing another couple of drones just kind of trickling on through in the production tab. The Reaper Expander is well underway for souL. The expansion part of that coming up next. And we wait to see where it goes from here. As the factory drops down, do we see a second gas? Or will we just see the one gas into that very fast third command center, which of course can go a very long distance in terms of just giving you very good economy in the early stages? That's my real question at the moment. Is the one thing which I think really shows a lot about how this game is going to look. It should come down anytime now, this refinery. Once the factory is being placed, if he wants a second gas, okay, he is going to take it. So there you go. Double refinery, it is in these early stages, so it's still going to be something fairly aggressive from souL. Now, this of course still means he can be, going to a third command center. It's just going to drop down at the 4 or 5 minute marker, rather than dropping down at the 3 minute marker. And it just means that he will be a little bit more aggressive. He will have the starport in play here, unless he opts to go for very fast reacted Cyclones. We are going to be seeing this Reaper moving down to the low ground momentarily. And a drone doesn't want to transfer just yet if that Reaper's around. And the Snute very much so knows it. Has good saturation on the main base. His natural is on its way up. And the Queen's starting to push that first Reaper away. No creep tumor just yet. Doesn't really need to rush out. It's actually interesting that Snute does take the in-base expand as well, by the way. Oftentimes you will just see this base taken initially, and then the third hatchery taken in here, because then you can just take it without any issues, because the Reaper's not going to be sat there. As right now, the Reaper does sit on the low ground. Intriguing. Intriguing. Well, we do see Overlords popping out. I wonder if Snute's just not looking to take a fast third hatchery himself. Obviously, he's still going to take on in the next, few minutes as, ling speed comes up, but you would have imagined on 16-bit he maybe could have rushed it out a little bit faster. As the first two Hellions are moving across. This time it's going to be the starport onto the tech lab very early on. He has the money to build a Raven or Cloak Banshee, but now it's going to be the Viking. So maybe a Viking into a Liberator, the tech lab there just to kind of be that threat of, look at me, I could be going Cloak Banshee. You just don't know. You can't tell. As the Queens will make their way to the low ground to protect this third hatchery, which has come on up here since the Ling's got Ling speed. So, Snute just getting up in towards that next base of his, and a couple more Hellions going to start coming across the map. Just going to keep up pressure from souL at the moment. As those two Hellions again pressing on in. A little bit more damage being dealt here. And hatchery continuing to drop for the moment. And two Queens just sat at the front from Snute. Another one joining up right now as well. Medevac on the way out from souL. He did start up that cloak as a little bit of a fake out, or maybe as a follow-up Banshee as he goes into the armory once again. Getting ready for Hellbats for the second game in a row. So souL keeping it aggressive right now in this ZvT. Keeping it so that he's definitely not giving Snute much time to breathe or think about how he's going to play macro. This is a more difficult map for Snute to kind of sneak Lings across on. And obviously as you push up into here, it's more difficult to just kind of bust this down in general. He also doesn't have a Baneling Nest, so Snute isn't looking for the same sort of counter-attack style to deal with this Hellbat attack as we saw in Game 1. So let's see what he does go for, and it is indeed a delayed Cloak Banshee on the way up now as a follow-up to this as well. First ball comes down in the local recording on 2, guys. Hopefully this is going to work out. Hopefully this doesn't lag the stream too much. I guess we'll see. If it's too much, then we can just stop it, and I'll have to just deal with the fact that we lost this series, but it would be a little bit of a shame. A couple of Banshees coming through, though, back on track right now. Sorry for that. And as we do just see the first couple of Banshees getting pushed away. A couple of Queens here from Snute, obviously, just again doing their jobs, and, well, not really allowing souL to get into the position he wants to, although Snute's actually kind of a bit behind on supply. A couple Medevacs starting to come around now. We'll start to look to clean up. Remember that Snute does have that massive upgrade lead, and while 1-1's about to even up for a while, when +2/+2 kicks in, Snute's going to be able to take some good fights. He's also going to have a Spire, so he's going to be playing Mutalisks here in the next few moments. As we are going to be having these first few Marines already pushing forwards and clean up a little bit of this creep spread. A couple of creep tumors already being picked away at right now, and we do see those Queens still pushing the Banshees off and away over to the left-hand side. Get out of here, Banshees. Still just denying them from doing much more. Again, Snute's got the money in the bank, just needs a couple of Overlords actually, because he's currently supply blocked, and that means he can't actually make as many Mutas as he would like to. And he was still supply blocked when he tried to make Mutalisks, so actually that really sucks for him. There's that Terran player going up to a 4th base. Nice creep spread denial from these Marines, by the way. The more of that he gets, the easier it's going to be for souL to push in towards these bases later in the game. He's going to pull away to the left-hand side. More Marines and a couple of tanks coming up the left here from souL as well. 5th base from Snute will start. No creep spread in front of it right now, so definitely a position that's very easy to push on into. I'm actually a little bit confused about these Marines and tanks here from souL. I'm not sure if they're going to really be able to hold on. Bane speed's in play, 2-2's about to finish up. I just think having the 2-2 is going to help a lot here, but we're about to find out if that's the case. A bit of creep already being cleaned out. The Mutas can come into play now, shut down those tanks. So it just needs a few more units. You do see the Soul Caller here hitting this Liberator. The Mutas will come in and deal with this Liberator, gets the kill. And I think souL very maturely decides to just back away from this. Does not want to stick around in this position. Lings, Banes, Mutas coming through the top side right now. We do see another hatchery coming up here. Some more Lings and Mutas on the way out. +1 flyer attack still on the way through on the Spire. Another couple of siege tanks will set themselves up right now, and here we go. Lings going to start rolling in. Snute again, he has the 2-2 upgrade lead, but he can't push into that without the creep spread, it feels like. Too many tanks just sieged up. And that's the issue. I think souL's just going to sit back until he has enough to really fight this. And that's obviously, for Snute, it's a shame because it means he loses his upgrade advantage. Mutas haven't really done much either just yet. For the first time, they're heading in towards a mineral line to start really getting something done. Picks off a sensor tower that's building here. Doesn't go for the missile turret. Knows it'll just get targeted down right away. Mutas do fly on in towards this base as well. Missile turret getting picked away at as well now. And we are going to be seeing a lot of those SCVs getting picked away at. A +2 upgrade actually might be denied here because a lot of SCVs will continue to drop. Marauders are stimming over. That's not going to help. There's a lot of SCVs. Finally, some Marines show up, but 20 workers It's amazing. Actually, look at this. He's just going to go for it. He knows these are only 1-1 upgrades on the Marines, so he's going to get this. And now the Engineering Bay is in trouble again, and +2/+2 might be in some real issue right here as Snute just goes for even more of these Marines. Now, this is a very committed attack. He's going to have to defend with just Ling Bane back at home, and he's going to go for it right now. Feels like the Banes don't really connect as they need to. To the south side, they start to get some connections, though, as souL is obviously just distracted all over the place. It's not a full cleanup, but it's good enough, I think, as the Mutas get +2 armor denied. And now Snute will keep himself some form of an upgrade lead. Actually, I think +2 carapace, +2 armor is not as important as +2 melee of +2 weapons, of course, but it's still something here that helps out a lot. As we're going to see those units dropping off, and well, Snute just needs to bring those mutas back along so he can stop these medevacs from just lifting up time and time again. As we're going to be seeing, well, Lings and Banes keep on rolling in, and here come the Mutalisks. There's one medevac with a 4 inside, and as these Lings chase, that's the issue. You just can't drop these units off. Drops the 4 on the low ground, but it's low HP, so it goes down. The siege tank is sieging, but it's surrounded, and Snute just has too many units. He's storming his way through this, and souL's supply just keeps dropping right now. Man, those mutas in the natural. Snute's decision to realize that he could just commit and kill that group of Marines made souL really committed to that attack, but then Snute, he had enough back at home to actually push it away, and that puts Snute into this position he's in now, which is, well, in a commanding position. He makes 10 more Mutalisks, knowing that he has momentum. Mutas definitely can snowball so nicely, and that's what he's aiming for at the moment here. +2 armor on the way, as we're going to be seeing 14 more Zerglings on the way up to the center of the map. These Mutalisks are still gathering up together. More Lings still up to the northern side. Marines are wandering the plains, looking to see what they can do. The 4th base is obviously in some trouble. This natural is going to be in trouble as well. That next Engineering Bay might still just go down. Snute has a hive. I'd love to see his final set of upgrades starting up, take the advantage where he can. Is going to force a stim over here. I mean, even that's kind of great because there isn't a ton of medevacs, and their energy is going to be drained every time they stim to try and chase the mutas away. Going to come back up to the top, and a couple of Liberators are trying to move around to be annoying, but this one just runs straight into a group of Queens, so that's already going to be very painful. So that Liberator already takes just a bunch of damage right there, as we do see these Mutalisks of Snute. So just going to have to back away off over to the left-hand side. Another couple of siege tanks set on up. Lings don't quite move on forwards. A 4th base to the right side. Having to be careful as well. And SCV getting picked away at now. And missile turret starts to come up in the mineral line. Again, these Mutalisks trying to see what they can do. Coming back into play. They go for the missile turret. Go for a siege tank. Doesn't quite find anything there, really, in the end. And those mutas have to back away once more. Coming back in, looking for some medevacs. Missile turret. I mean, he doesn't really seem to mind throwing away a couple mutas here and there. He's given souL time to get back up into position, though, in terms of supply. I guess the biggest deal, though, is the fact that Snute also has gone in towards his hive tech upgrades, and that's going to help him out massively. No Ultras Cavern, though, and I feel that's a little bit surprising at this stage from Snute as he continues to play this Ling Bane style around the map. More Banelings coming on over to the right. A few SCVs going down as the mutas are still getting themselves set up over here. And this is the thing, as souL gets pinned back, look at the creep. It's advancing everywhere on the map, and it's going to be more and more difficult as time passes by for souL to start dealing with that, for him to start pushing it back and going from there. Mutas turn themselves around again. Lings and Banes gathering themselves together right now. Snute, a lot of Banelings on the way up here. A lot of Banelings on the way up. Mutalisks fly in towards this base, and we'll get to work on a bunch more of these SCVs. I mean, this time souL's kind of given up on defending, so he's really kind of all in with this attack across the map. If he doesn't win the game with that attack, I mean, his economy is going to be in absolute tatters. Well, let's see. First set of Banes we're thinking about already moving forwards, but he's going to be patient. He might even wait as long as possible so he can bring the mutas back home to fight as well. Snute probably not too upset about losing this base. He has top side, but not for long with that drop coming in. That's something we'll have to keep an eye on here in the near future, as you do see some SCVs still being picked away. It's 20 killed so far. Reactor died on the starport as well. And these mutas are still just rampaging their way through. Again, it's a slow push from souL. He has no choice because of the creep spread, really slowing him down. And his reinforcements are just getting picked away at as they pop out. 4s have actually made their way back home. This is finally going to be what pushes the mutas back away. And actually the 4s still chasing. This couple of mutas might be in a little bit of trouble here. A couple of them do go down. The splash damage is working its wonders. The top left-hand side, Queens did come over, and this medevac is now on its way down. Snute has dealt with this drop after losing just 5 workers compared to the 30 he just killed, and now with his opponent backing away, this is looking pretty great once again. 3 Ultrasks on the way up. Kindness Plating is coming through as well right now from Snute. More Lings coming across the map, and SCV's just falling. Marines are going to start taking some damage as well. I mean, free Adrenal Gland Zerglings against no +3 upgrades at all for the next few seconds. They do much better than I think you'd expect them to. 14 more SCVs going down, and Snute, now he's getting Ultras on the map, and there's just nothing at all in position for our Terran player to really deal with Ultralisks. As souL pushes onto creep spread, this might be the sort of time where Snute's getting ready to actually just commit to a fight. Even if the creep is being killed off, it's still there until it recedes, so he still can maybe force a fight or two. Ultra is still popping on out though, and I guess he may as well wait for the Ultras. There's a lot of supply that's caught up in those. His Kindness Plating is finished though, and he does have the armor upgrade lead. Let's see how he goes. Here he goes. Snute moves forwards. It's a lot of Balin support in these Ultras right now. Tanks will siege in the back. The Ultra on the back, though, takes a lot of the tank shots, which is amazing because it allows the Balins to keep rolling on in towards the Marines, crashing on through the Ultras, and Lings are somewhat unstoppable in the end. I mean, that's the issue. Actually, a lot of the Balins end up just falling. There's still a good amount of bio left, but again, there's just no answer to these Ultralisks. Medevacs chased by these Mutalisks. There's just a few meters, but it's more than enough. GG is called, and Snute will take a 2-0 lead in this best of 5. Okay, stop the music, stop the music. Little bit too long there. A little bit too long in the music. A little bit too long in the tunes. So top left-hand side, our red Terran player from OSC Elite. Give it up for souL. Bottom right-hand side, our blue Zerg player from Team Liquid. This is Snute. Best of 5 game number 3. As we sound up and we keep this going, we look to see what is going to be coming up in the very near future as we continue on and along. Gas rack setting up right now. We have a spawning pool, and let's spawn pool first to try and keep Snute safe here. Honestly, I don't blame him. So many free racks nowadays. Stay safe when maybe souL's at that point of just being like, you know what, I'm done. Just gonna make more, just gonna make units. And just try and kill you right now. Well, we set ourselves up, and we do just have that hatchery is dropped on down, and this Overlord is just making its way, wandering along towards the upper left corner of the map. Barracks will start up a Reaper. And we do just see that Orbital Command is currently on its way through as well. SCV going to get mining as well on the natural in the very near future. 6 Zerglings on their way out. I mean, the 6 Lings, of course, can cause some chaos, so it's not just about being safe, and so it also opens up aggressive opportunities. These 6 Lings, you know, if the Reaper comes across the map, they avoid the Reaper, boom, boom, boom. All of a sudden, you can delay that CC for a long time, you can follow up aggressively, although kind of a long map to follow up with like a roach attack or something. But and also it was pool hatch gas, right? Not pool gas hatch or gas pool hatch, which would open up like a lot of possibilities in terms of aggressive follow-ups. In this scenario, I think Snute's just going to be pretty fine to just be like, cool, just the Lings, go up into towards my third base as I've been doing in these games so far, and just kind of play it out from there. So 6 Lings approaching the top left-hand side, and there's a Marine here, but as 3 Lings peel away towards the Marine, and 3 Lings go towards the SCV as well, and uh-oh, he's actually going to get up this ramp. He might be able to cancel a reactor at the moment. A couple of SCVs are pulled as well, of course. He actually loses a lot of the Lings in a surround from the SCVs. That's a lot of SCVs pulled off the line. 8 of them in total. 1 of them comes down to the low ground, and the Reaper is pulled back home on top of all of this. And Snute just using this as an opportunity to build up that drone count. Ling speed coming through. No third hatchery just yet. We'll keep our eyes on whether the third hatchery will be taken in the near future. Reaper from souL. On the way down towards the bottom right-hand side here. Queen just sat at the front, and we are going to be seeing that Reaper just starting to nibble its way through this hatchery over on the third base. So, just starting to nibble its way through that there. Starport is currently on the way up in that main base. As you do see here, Queen just sat here at the moment. 14 more Zerglings actually on the way up right now. Link speed coming through. So getting set up into that link speed, and we are going to have a couple of Hellions going to be popping out of this factory with the reactor on it. in the next few moments as well. Starport onto the Tech Lab. Barracks starts to build a Tech Lab as well. And we'll be seeing, again, a couple of Hellions, the Reaper and the Marine. They gather up, and now the Viking starts to come on out. The Lings are going to counterattack. I mean, the Hellions obviously very good at dealing with that. These Lings are just going to sit off to the side for the moment. Snute able to get his hatchery on its way with no real concerns. Sends 1 or 2 Lings up the ramp to see, okay, the units are just there. But I mean, in general, if Snute sees these units coming across the map with this Overlord or this Zergling, these Lings are going to make the dive into that natural expansion. souL's playing very safe right now, just keeping these Hellions at home, though. So Snute's idea is not quite going to come to fruition here, unfortunately. At least not just yet. We'll see when souL maybe starts to feel a bit more confident, perhaps when he does get the wall off up. Depends if he goes Engineering Bay at the front, because if he goes for the Engineering Bays, this will be walled off very shortly. If he just waits for depots, then it'll take a little while longer. Is the Viking actually going to kill the Overlord here? Still has the Zergling to see if the Hellions move out. There's going to be 1 Engineering Bay in the wall, and the Hellions, ooh, they move out to the right-hand side, and that's something Snute doesn't see, so his Ling's in trouble, but he picks up on it pretty quickly enough to pull those Lings away off over to the far right-hand side. So Lings pull off and away off over to this far right side. A couple of Queens just busy injecting themselves on this hatchery. Carapace upgrade starts up from Snute, so a single evolution chamber this time around, a bit different to before. We've yet to see Lingbane Hydra from Snute this series. Of course, we saw Lingbane Muta game 2 and game number 1 didn't really get past the Lingbane phase, so it'd be cool to see if he changed it up again. It kind of depends. Snute very much so is a player who changes his playstyle based on the map, so I guess it kind of depends what he feels about Dreamcatcher, whether Lingbane Muta would work on this, or if Lingbane Hydra would do the job. In general, I think Lingbane Muta is actually kind of powerful. You can jump from this base to the main, this base to the, this base to the natural. You can jump between those bases very easily. There's a bit of dead air space. There's big counterattack pathways for the Lings and Banes as well, which is always huge. The one thing I think is a bit weak on this map for Lingbane Muta is you are kind of forced into some choke points a lot of the time for engagements, and that can definitely be difficult to deal with. Lingbane Hydra isn't as easy to deal with that, but it's, you get up to Hive, you get Vipers out, and at least you can shut down the siege tanks, which are generally going to be made against that, which definitely helps out. A couple of supply depots on the way right now as Marines loading up into those medevacs. 2 of them going to be starting to head across the map towards the bottom right-hand side. Join up with these few Hellions. No armory in play, right? So it is just the Hellions. It's not going to be any sort of Hellbat morphing in. Bane Nest is kind of delayed here, so this is really going to be kind of a Ling Queen defense with a +1 Carapace. At least the Carapace will help both the Queens and the Zerglings, of course, so let's see if it's enough as those Marines unloading. And souL getting ready to go. Stimming forwards here, we'll look for a couple of forward creep tumors to begin with. So just going to try and take down these rocks and stop them, just slow souL down. We will get these rocks actually, and not bad. Costs him a couple of Zerglings, but I think worthwhile because it buys him so much time. Right, he's now going to have a Banelin nest up, and even slow Banelins are better than no Banelins at all. Snute still disregarding melee upgrades, going into +2 Carapace now, still just on that single evolution chamber. 10 Banes morphing in. Needs to make sure he remembers Bane speed along the way here as well. Now he has a few too many minerals. Maybe could have done with some gases slightly earlier. No, he spends them on Zerglings, and he has some Queens on the way too. Look at this, 2 siege tanks siege up, and they're going to make things very frustrating now because they're on a very difficult position to engage into. And these Queens, well, they get a medevac. Has to be careful though, as we do see souL still trying to push through this position, and again, those tanks supporting just do so much right here. Banes are going to commit forwards this time around, but I mean, again, the tanks are just getting the damage done to clean this up, and Snute is having some real trouble right now. There's continued pressure from souL. There's working wonders, and another few Banes getting picked away at now. Snute really is in trouble because, again, he has no Bane speed on the way. He has nothing to really start helping him out as time passes by. 1 Baneling connects, though, and that's all it takes to start turning things around as souL. That was not what he needed right then and there, and that does hurt. Another tank pushes further forwards, though. It's not over yet. There's now currently no Banelings from Snute at all, who has money in the bank. A couple of drones are moving across towards the other base here. Lings are going to run forwards. The Queens are just so important at this stage, as we're going to be seeing, well, they get themselves a medevac. One of the tanks falls down. Queens have transfuses. They have to drop them right now, though. Goes for another medevac. Doesn't quite fall. Struggling to deal with the Marines here. And again, just without Banelings, with money in the bank, Snute just has not quite had enough to really hold on to this, and this is getting out of control. souL continuing to rally across here, currently just sat on, what, 5 racks on the 2 bases. He's going to make this work. There's constant pressure off of the 2-base play. He's going to win him game number 3, and Snute is going to drop a map in this grand final. souL will be keeping his dreams alive right now as we see the Liberators sieging. There's a couple of Queens continue to drop on down. There goes 1, there goes 2, and there goes the final one. All these queens picked away up. The Spore Crawler goes down as well. And well, now there's a few more Zerglings going down. This is pretty much going to be it. souL takes the third game, and he is going to be putting them as we kick off into Darkness Sanctuary for map number 4. Cross spawns as well. Snoot's got to be loving this already. I mean, obviously he doesn't know yet, but when he does know, he'll be very happy with this, as we have to the bottom left-hand side the red Terran player. This is souL. Going up against the blue Zerg top right from Team Liquid. It's my friend, Liquid Snute. Okay then, game number 4. Getting this into a real little series now, aren't we? I like it. Never fun to watch a straight sweep happening. Always much more exciting to watch a whole bunch of games and have a bit of a back and forth series. So, setting this up, we do have ourselves the spawning pool on the way. Barracks on the way up from souL as well in the main base. And we do just have this Overlord of Snute currently heading on over to the left-hand side. So an Overlord heading off over to the left here. We are going to be having some water features on the map as well. Water just pouring out right now. What is this? This looks like a robo facility. It's like an old robo facility that has like a floaty platform. It's a bit like a robo. Snute obviously just sending his overlords. Takes a long time to reach the other base on this map, and of course when he does reach them, he isn't going to find his opponent because his opponent is in the far cross spawns. But that's fine. Snute will be completely happy with that. Cross spawns for Zerg. It's a large map. It means push plays like the last game from souL just aren't going to be really eligible at all. I actually do wonder what souL goes for to try and make anything happen here on cross-spawn Darkness Sanctuary. It's a little bit crazy as we do see 4 Zerglings coming out into the center of the map. This comes out in towards the middle. We're just going to be seeing these things obviously approaching the front. First SCV on a command center which is building. It's interesting that Snute opens pool first on Darkness Sanctuary of all maps, isn't it? We actually see the Reaper is obviously way out of position right now, could not be further away. So again, he's going to delay the command center. I mean, it still works out in that regard. One Marine here, more SCVs might have to pull on in, but Snute just pulls his Lings back this time, just going to focus on the natural command center. Does the Reaper have to come back over here? I mean, it might speed up the time at which he can get an SCV building on the CC again, which would help. And honestly, that CC taking some hits right now. 600 health. I mean, Marine comes forward to try and force something to happen. Reaper's on its way too. They're not going to get cancelled or anything, but it's still kind of scary. It does force SCVs in the end to actually come down the ramp. And in the end, the SCVs will defend. Reaper comes back home. Wow. Look at all this lost mining time, though. That's what? Another, again, 8 SCVs that just sat here running around chasing Lings rather than mining away. And that gives that little bit of an income boost in these early stages. Look at that. That pool first play, I would say, is almost definitely working out for him once again. 16 more Lings from Snute. Honestly, I kind of like it. Ling speed's about to finish. It's that sort of scenario where I think if he just goes across the map with a lot of Lings, he can get a lot done. He's been playing like heavy Lings already, and he hasn't really found many opportunities, but this time, maybe he can. Obviously, the CC is finished as that Armory comes down from souL, looking towards Hellbats here once again. Lings coming across, and oh my god, that Hellion and the Reaper. Actually, didn't know where Snute was just yet. souL does see a couple of Lings coming in. A couple of Lings will just turn and deal with that. More Lings are found by those couple of Hellions right here. Those Hellions, do they dare stop? Because right at the moment, you see Snute is going to dive on in towards the mineral line. A couple of Hellions go up the ramp. A fresh mule gets taken down. Another SCV or 2 as well. A few more drones. So a lot of Lings lost though. And again, a defense has to come in very soon. But he sees the Marine count. And this is very similar to game number 1, where if you're continuing to make Marines, you have to kind of assume that Hellions should probably be, you know, morphing into Hellbats in the near future. Medevac coming in towards the upper right-hand side. +1 Carapace on the way down from Snute. And we do see the third hatchery of Snute also coming along as well. A few more Hellions in them towards the upper right-hand side. A few Marines unloading as well. Just going to continue healing some bits and pieces up right now. Hellbats morphing in. And we do see a Reaper just leading the charge. 26 Zerglings currently in the production tab. There's a few Queens on the way as well. And obviously the more Snute can get right here, the better it's going to be for him. Will he go after that medevac? He tried to, in the first game, go for the medevac pretty quickly. This time he doesn't go for it, he just goes for the Hellbats. He gets one kill so far, gets a second down to the bottom left-hand side. There's a lot of medevacs, Hellbats that are already low on health. And I think as extra Queens start to spawn, as extra Lings pop out, it's a defense from Snute, who across the map again found himself a couple of SCVs. And again, Snute is going to clean this up. Costing a lot of Queens though this time. He loses 4 Queens. So it's not like this was a, this is not like nothing was gained here by souL. He definitely killed off some units, but still sad. 11 workers down. No sign of a third command center. It still feels difficult in that regard. And those team medevacs heading down towards bottom left-hand side here again. +1 Carapace about to finish up. +1 melee coming through too. Liberator going to be finishing very shortly, as we are going to be seeing those Lings coming around and trying to surround for a little bit more damage. And then up in towards the main base, going to go straight through in towards the main mineral line. We are going to see a couple of workers going down here again, just dodging away from the positioning of the Hellions to maximize damage. Another couple of Lings showing up. It's another SCV and maybe even one more on the back of the mineral line there. That SCV runs in towards the Liberation Zone. Another one, which is just outside of Liberation Zone. Oh my god, Snute. 6 workers when I think most players would have found like 1 or 2 at most. Snute finds every single opportunity in each mineral line to maximize the damage, avoiding Hellion positioning, avoiding Liberator positioning, finding the weaker SCVs amongst that. Wow. And as Snute goes up into +1 melee, well, I mean, you look at this and there's just no sort of upgrades at all here on the way from souL. I imagine as the 3rd CC comes through, he might just look to try and play mech. I mean, he's making that sort of number of Hellions where it really is a real possibility. Actually, this could be scary. Snute has no units, 7 Queens against what's going to be a hell of a lot of Hellbats. 12 Lings on the way up right now. No Banelin Nest though, so he is purely on Ling Queen right now, and he's making drones too. I think actually Snute's in trouble. He sees this now. Creep spread will be his best friend in terms of identifying something is coming. He starts up a Spine Crawler, and that's already a sign of Banelin Nest too. That is definitely a sign of, oh my god, I had no idea you were still making Hellions. And Snute, after having one hell of a game so far, might have just thrown this away by being a little bit greedy. He's going to bring this Spore forwards, which gets some damage onto the medevacs, which is nice. The Queens are going to start getting to work here. Medevacs are fairly low on energy, so honestly there's not even that much healing available compared to what you might think, considering there is a couple of medevacs here. Liberator sieges up on this left-hand side. The Queen's on their way over, so they'll deal with that fairly soon. One Queen lost that was still on the base, though. Still just working his way through the Hellbats. Okay, Snute's actually going to hold on. Oh no, that's not good. The drones are running through Hellbat fire at the moment. That's not pretty at all. It brings Snute right back down in terms of worker count. 13 workers killed. He gets a couple more at the end there too. 14 workers killed, 47 workers apiece. Wow. A lot of Hellbats lost though from souL, and that's the biggest issue. He's still down heavily on upgrades. The +2 is halfway done from Snute. Coming across the map right now, Snute wants to try and just push his way through this wall off and maybe, I mean, just wolf in Banes and just bust on through this. He's going to poke up the ramp. He's going to see Marines rather than Hellions. I think he's got a real possibility of just busting through, and I think Snute realizes it as well. There just isn't many units here right now. Stimpack isn't even going to be ready for this initial wave of aggression. It'll finish up during the attack. With 0/0 upgrades as well, I just think these Lings are going to have a time of their lives. These Marines have to position themselves amazingly right now. One Baneling might go down before it reaches the wall off. Nope, it goes off on the wall. And now there's still Banes here as well, which get the surround with the Lings and help to do more damage. Baneling into the mineral line, going to bring a lot of those SCVs low, and that's already just looking towards a lot of damage being dealt. Marines do tuck themselves in the corner where obviously the medevacs will help massively, but you can see the SCV count on the left side of your screen going down. You can see 20 workers have been killed. The Marines are down as well, and he's going to chase for a couple more SCVs towards the end of this here. 22 workers killed for a small Ling Bane counter, and the power of Snute's position is really starting to shine right now. The upgrades, the fact, allowing the Lings to actually fight there against the Terran bio units, which doesn't happen a lot of the time. And well, again, just 23 more workers killed. What can you say about it? At this stage, souL is in so much trouble. 71 drones, 32 SCVs. As we do see this Liberator going to head on up towards the upper left-hand side. Snute looking to pick up 100 euros for today's GO4SC2 Sunday. Just has to close this one out now after he's established his lead. As we do see a Spire and an Infestation Pit continue to come down from Snute in the main and the natural. 2 medevacs of souL going to head on over to the right-hand side. These things continue to come on towards the bottom left and having a look to see what they can get up to. Another hatchery will start up also. So he goes in towards the 5th base without even really delaying at all. There just isn't any units here from souL. I mean, he's actually trying to drop across the map, which is a great idea, but when Snute decides to counter-attack, it just means there's nothing here. There's orbitals actually just straight up dying. SCV's come in to repair. It will lift in the last moments as well. No wall-off, not enough units. And I mean, okay, you'd kill this base, souL. That's not going to save you right now, because Snute has bases elsewhere. This orbital goes down as souL types out a little bit of rage about the map, which Snute actually agrees with. I know Snute feels very